Hey, it's your old pal Slim, and this is 70mm, a podcast for film lovers. Every Monday, I sit down to talk about recently watched movies with my dear friend and artist, Danny Haas.
Just call him Dick Grayson. What? He is not, his name's not Robin. What are we doing calling him Robin?
And our spiritual advisor, Proto.
You want a liquid bag of Batman cinema?
We are concluding our Nolan trilogy with Part 3, The Dark Knight Rises. Is it as bad as some hosts remember from all those years ago? Or was Danny right this entire time? And is it actually good? Let's find out now. ELBIN Ring.
Oh.
Let's start off. Let's be frank with each other. Proto has watched no movies. He's been sucked in to this hot new video game, ELBIN Ring. It's by George R. Martin.
Are you saying bees? Are you saying B? ELBIN?
ELBIN Ring. That's the other game.
How many hours have you put into this game so far?
10 plus.
My God.
Let's just say 10 plus.
Is this like WoW? You have to like amp up your character. You got to pick a class, like wizard, mage. Tell us about it.
No. So this is a game from Software, who are known for their Dark Souls games, and the games are known as being very difficult. They're pretty hard. You kind of have to grind it. But I've never played one of these games. I've always been afraid.
Addiction.
Yeah, addiction. And if I buy into it, is it just not going to be for me? But this time, I was reading about it. Everybody's getting on it. And I thought, you know what? I haven't played a game at release in a long time. And it just felt right. It felt right. And I thought I'd take a chance. Take a chance on me. Give myself a shot. So I did. And it's paying off. I'm just in love with this game. It kind of changes the formula of like gameplay mechanics in ways that's like really inspiring. Games like this, normally you are kind of on like a loot chase where you're like chasing leveling up and chasing the rewards that come from that. But with this, like there's such a learning curve and a depth to the gameplay that you're actually leveling up like your personal skill at being good at the game because it's so hard. And I haven't really played a game like this I've played some like roguelikes that are like this, that are like really difficult, that you just have to like get really good at the mechanics. But I'm having the time of my life right now.
Do you remember when we all went on vacation together, our group of friends, and WoW, I think, had like just been re-released or something. Everyone brought their laptop, their systems, and late one night, everyone brought their rigs. Everyone got their rigs out and started playing WoW Classic.
Our mobile rigs.
There's a famous video of a dear friend of ours, now podcaster, Dirk Feelgood, who does the Movie Mixtape podcast with also a dear friend of ours, Marcy. He was in this kind of like sleeping fugue state. He fell asleep watching everyone play WoW Classic, and his head was just bopping around trying to stay awake.
Yeah, he was that engaged. Yeah, we're playing with our two producers. Well, our producer Dale and our ex-producer, now disgraced Ian.
Yeah.
And yeah, we went into what's that dungeon underneath Agramar? You know what it's called.
Danny?
Fire Rage Chasm.
We went into Fire Rage?
Rage Fire Chasm. That's what it is.
Trainer says.
Thank you, Trainer. I was close.
Let's move on.
Yeah, sorry. Everyone wake up in live chat. We're moving on. We have a big episode of The Dark Knight Rises. We're closing out the Nolan verse tonight together as friends. We'll settle the score, just like we settled the score again for Rogue One this past week. We released a shock bonus episode of Rogue One Redux. Danny, what'd you think? Now you've had a few days behind us to marinate on the experience of doing it a second time.
I think we really bonded over this episode, the three of us together. We reached new levels of friendship. And I'm excited for the third time we do this movie.
That's code for Danny that we went more towards what he thinks of the movie.
Yes, thank you.
I have some news. I saw The Batman.
You just
tonight.
got out of the theater.
Just got out of the theater. That's our movie next week. 3 hours of The Batman.
Give us something. Give us something.
Give us
just a little. I'm not going to reveal my opinion on
Give
the
us
movie.
Something.
I'll give you something. I'll just say this.
Don't make us beg.
Like a dog.
I'll give you. Let me just say this about the production design.
Okay.
Capital P, capital D, production design of this film. I would like it hooked up directly to my veins. Intravenously.
Yeah.
Intravenously.
I don't even know what that means.
That's all I'll say about that.
You want a liquid bag of Batman cinema?
Can we get a Photoshop of intravenous of the Batman production design?
No.
Proto, did you watch any movies this week before you became a Elden Ring addict?
I did watch a movie, okay? I'm a professional here. Everyone knows this. I don't miss a beat. And I did watch a movie. I continued our Marvel Cinematic Universe journey with my son. Yeah, I got to watch for the first time Age of Ultron.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Which I had never seen.
James Spader's lips.
James Spader's lips, James Spader's voice. I don't know what the consensus is, but I liked James Spader in this as Ultron. I liked his voice. I liked his performance as that man. Yeah, and I mean, I gave it 2 stars. I enjoyed it for the most part. I think it's better than Ant-Man. I mean, it has a lot of issues, just like classic issues. The biggest is just the whole love story angle between the Hulk and Black Widow. Like, what are we thinking with this storyline?
Is this the big hide the pickle joke movie?
Do you remember a pickle joke, Proto?
I think that does sound familiar, but I might have already blocked it out.
I think this one came out.
Hey, big guy. Drink every time.
We need to isolate that.
Scarlett says, hey, big
Mental
guy.
editing note, isolate Proto's big guy audio. I think this had come out after some good Marvel movies had come out.
Name one. See?
Was the second Captain America movie out by this point? Can someone
knows.
Winter
confirm?
Soldier? Yes.
Thank you, Hannah. So that had come out, and then you get Avengers 2 Age of Ultron with that director.
Wet blanket.
Yeah.
And you're ready for, let's get rid of this guy because we have these studs on the Captain America movies. And then they eventually took over those Avengers movies, as they should have.
Those guys.
Yeah, not much to say about this movie. I mean, everybody else has already seen it.
We don't need to dwell on that filth.
It's 20 years old.
Slovenia. What was the country name?
Yeah, it was like Slovenia. Like everything's going down in Slovenia. This one town.
Danny, what did you watch this week?
After our last episode, your words about V for Vendetta really struck a chord with me. So I fired up V for Vendetta and gave it a fat, juicy heart on Letterboxd. What an enjoyable movie.
No rating.
And I wish that one day we could cover it on this show.
Did I miss some kind of V for Vendetta love fest that I'm just like oblivious to? Is there a V community for the film and not the book?
There's a forum somewhere.
Casey, thank you.
I think it's just that we don't hate it.
I don't hate it. It's just saying
You
on the
hated
list of movies that I would want to
You
cover
hated
on
it.
the show
You
with
said
you,
never.
with you too. this is maybe at the bottom of the list.
That's not what you said.
Like this and Catwoman are probably the last two movies I'd want to cover for this podcast.
Interesting.
Thank you, Casey. I'm getting supported by your partner in chat.
My wife, please.
What about Beauty and the Beast? You watch that too.
Beauty and the Beast was a family movie night. And what we do for family movie nights, we all pick a movie in our family, put our names in a spinning name app. And if you get picked, it's your movie for that night. You can't get upset if your movie doesn't get picked because it's all random. Casey's pick was Beauty and the Beast, the animated, beautiful film, 5 stars. It's such a perfect movie. I love it. Actually, the first movie I ever saw in theaters when I was a kid. So it's a special movie. I love this movie. It's incredible.
That music hits where he's transforming. Are you kidding me? I'm getting chilled up right now just thinking about it.
Sheesh.
It's magic.
Imagine a Beauty and the Beast episode.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so that's all we watched this week. Got to see a Basquiat exhibit in the museum here. One of my favorite artists. It was a beautiful weekend.
I'm wearing my Basquiat shirt.
I saw your Basquiat shirt and I love you.
Wow. We have some new friends on Patreon to say hello to. Sarah and Kip joined this past week. They get access to the VHS Village Discord, discounts on Danny's beautiful prints, and merch. By the way, the episode 91 hat is going fast. That's all I can tell you about right now. It's going very fast. There was some buzz on Twitter. Some people asking for another Redux episode, potentially for episode 91.
What could we redo?
Proto, would you ever want to go back and redo our Dune episode for a Redux episode?
I think it would be interesting to do after part 2 comes out.
We're 100% doing part 2 on this show. I guarantee
100% we're doing part 2 on this show.
I guarantee it.
Someone has to do it. If not us, who?
I was thinking about that too. I was marinating on a dog walk today. What if we did part 1 and 2 as an entire episode? Like
as one movie, as it was intended.
Full movie as it should have been.
Yeah.
It's weird that people would want us to redo an episode of a movie we liked. You know?
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
That's a good, you know what? That's a good point.
What if we redux one of the most controversial, maybe more controversial than the Dune episode. We go back and we do that big green lovable character, Shrek.
Oh, yeah.
Shrek Redux. Proto just scoffed at me. You heard it. It's the first I've ever heard Proto scoff on this podcast.
Thank you, Matthew. Shrek still sucks.
We're supported.
I can't believe it. No movie more divisive than Shrek in our community. Makes me ill.
Oh, gosh.
Every week we give away a free year of Letterboxd Pro for sharing the show on social media. Disclaimer, I'm a Letterboxd employee. And I want to call out this one tweet that probably stopped us all in our tracks this week. Positive tweet, stopped us all in our tracks. Quote, if you want to listen to 3 guys who are almost 50, pretend they're 30 and act like they're 20, then 70mm Pod is the movie podcast for you. 5 stars. Danny, your reaction to that tweet?
That tweet was a journey that I went on reading it. I mean, we're all in our 30s. Sir?
I replied to that tweet, I'm 38! Exclamation point. Who's the most 50-ish out of all the hosts?
Me. I'm 39. I turned 40 this year. I'm the oldest. I'm the elder. The elder ring.
That was Dustin Jackson. So, Dustin, you won the free year Letterboxd Pro, by the way.
Congrats, Dustin. Thanks for your support.
So labored in that thanks. Thanks for your
grateful
support.
For your support, Dustin.
Real quick, I'll talk about a movie that I watched before we get into The Dark Knight Rises, the main event, the main course. I was lucky enough to watch After Yang.
Oh, yeah. Talk about
This movie
it.
is dropping on Showtime. or will be out on Showtime, I believe, when this episode posts.
Wait, this is a Showtime release movie?
It came out in Sundance, and I think Showtime signed.
Oh, okay.
Signed the deal to get the digital release. When his young daughter's beloved companion, an android named Yang, malfunctions, Jake searches for a way to repair him. In the process, Jake discovers the life that has been passing in front of him, reconnecting with his wife and daughter across a distance he didn't know was there. Colin Farrell is in this, Jodie Turner-Smith. This is one of those, A24, Matthew calls out in chat. This is one of those lo-fi sci-fi movies that I love, where it's really about the human relationships in the movie, and there's like some minor sci-fi aspects of it that are kind of like in the background but are super cool. Colin Farrell is amazing in this. My review was almost like, can we talk about Colin Farrell's career at this point?
Has he ever missed?
I mean, I would not have foreseen the varying degree of his filmography at this point of his career. It's so good. He just knows how to pick them. But through this journey that he goes on trying to repair Yang, I thought it was incredible. I gave it 5 stars in Letterboxd. Loved it. Hit me at the right time. I highly recommend everyone go see it.
Is it better than artificial intelligence?
It's very meditative. I watched this on my laptop. I laid down on the couch. Nova, my doggo, laid her head on my legs. I was watching. It was like the ideal movie watching scenario. And I had an emotional experience watching this film, so much recommend everyone check it out if possible. Look at how good Colin Farrell looks in that still from that trailer. The mustache alone.
Mustache, yeah.
I mean, The Lobster, Killing of a Sacred Deer. I mean, he's done these lo-fi sci-fis for a bit.
Yeah, but he had I want to say he had like 15 years of like nothing.
Yeah, he did the Total Recall reboot. He did the Fright Night reboot. He was in Horrible Bosses.
People love that movie.
Fascinating career, though. Colin.
He's got a very varied career. I
mean, you just saw him in the new Batman.
Which I can't believe that he was in that. I would love to read a book about how he was cast as the Penguin. I mean, early on in his career, I was like, he was one of my favorite actors. Like Tigerland had come out, I think, when I was working at West Coast Video. So I tracked down a DVD of that. And then he was in Heart's War. Minority Report was amazing in that.
Yeah.
He did Phone Booth. Remember that movie?
Phone Booth was wild.
The Recruit with Al Pacino. Sadly, he was in Daredevil after that. One of the worst performances in the history of...
Evanescence. Can we play some Evanescence right now?
Oh my God. Just got removed from Spotify for just saying Evanescence out loud. So yeah, he was in The New World from Terrence Malick.
Yeah.
Have you seen that, Proto?
No, I really want to just, to probably be disappointed. But yeah, I really want to see that. I've been eyeing up that Criterion disc. You know what I'm saying?
All right, so check out After Yang if you're at all able to. Highly recommended. 5 stars, movie of the year for me. But we need to get into the feature prezzo.
Movie of the year. Let's move on.
The one we need to get into, The Dark Knight Rises, the most anticipated sequel in superhero film history.
Sheesh.
2012.
Is that true?
Christopher Nolan.
Can you back that up?
Christian Bale. Anne Hathaway. Proto, what is The Dark Knight Rises?
After the events of The Dark Knight, Batman, believed to be responsible for Harvey Dent's killing spree, disappears. But with the work that was done to clean up Gotham, it appears that he is no longer needed. 8 years have passed and Gotham is in better shape than ever. But Bane, a former member of the League of Shadows, has come to Gotham to complete the work of Ra's al Ghul. Destroy Gotham. How? He takes the core of an experimental fusion reactor that Wayne Enterprises has in their basement and turns it into an armed nuke set to blow. Bruce Wayne dons the cowl one final time to stop Bane. But does he still have it? Can he still be the Batman? Can he still kick and punch and stuff? Yes and no. All it takes is some prison time in The Dark Knight Rises.
So that's what that feels like. He wouldn't give the trigger to an ordinary citizen.
That's pretty good.
The main thing I kind of figured out in this viewing was, I'm guessing he couldn't breathe through his nose in the cowl, right? He was just always breathing through his mouth. That's why his mouth was open constantly.
I also noticed that his technique of doing the voice is that he never let his lips touch. Like he always you never connect the lips at all. If you hold that, you get his pronunciation.
They wouldn't give the trigger to an ordinary citizen. Where do we begin? I have some history with this movie.
Tell us.
I have some deep
tell
history
us.
with this
Talk
movie.
to us.
I was pissed when I saw this movie. I had a real bad reaction to the follow-up to The Dark Knight. I remember said it last week. How on earth do you top The Dark Knight? Like, it's not possible. The storyline was so huge. It's so good. In the movie universe, I said, like, I think chat called out that how do you top this amazing, perfect movie? I gave it 4.5 stars. I mean, in the story terms, how do you top what Joker did and what Batman did? It's like so vast. And I felt like when I saw this in the theaters, I was so confused by the Bane storyline. I in my head, I was so annoyed that like Bruce Wayne healed his broken back in a couple months or 2 months, whatever it was. So I didn't watch this movie for a long time until this week.
It was just a slip disc.
Anyway.
Just needs a good punch.
What's that?
He had a vertebrate, pumping out of his back. And he healed himself in 2 months. But Proto, what's your backstory with The Dark Knight Rises? Do you remember?
Not really. I the last time I saw this was in theater. And I didn't really remember too much about it. I remembered the prison, the breaking of the back. But the whole, really what happens with Anne Hathaway and anything with the cops, I forgot that Joseph Gordon-Levitt was in this movie, to be honest.
Jesus Christ.
So that's where I was at. It was, it was pretty much it felt like a fresh viewing for me.
Wow. Amazing. Well, that's good then.
What's your backstory, Danny, with The Dark Knight Rises?
We were probably, I don't know, in a good spot at the comic book store. We were hanging posters. We lined up to get tickets to see just that the first 10 minutes of the movie in IMAX, when they hadn't changed Bane's voice at the time. I mean, the hype around this film, it was intense in any sort of comic community that at least I was a part of. And I mean, opening night, we were there at the same place I'm seeing the Batman this weekend where I saw this film. So it's just, this movie was huge and it was big for me because I don't remember coming out of the theater in love with it like I did The Dark Knight. And so I don't know if it had reached the levels of, what The Dark Knight did for me as performances wise with the Joker and because of all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's kind of my past with it.
Proto, what's number one on your list for The Dark Knight Rises?
Well, the first thing on my list is Bane's voice. So what is this? What is the backstory? Did they change it at some point? So what happened?
From what I remember, in the IMAX preview that we got, that was a big event, was the first 10 minutes of the film you could go see, which was just the airplane sequence from the opening of this film. And then it had quick shots of the movie to wrap up what you're watching. And in that was just Tom talking through the mask, no voiceover. And it was honestly impossible to understand a word he was saying. So from what I understand was he came back and did all ADR to come back and do his voice again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they also won't admit that they did that, but it's
pretty obvious.
It's very obvious.
What?
Or perhaps he's wondering why someone would shoot a man before throwing him out of a plane.
At least you can talk! Who are you?
It doesn't matter who we are. What matters is our plan. No one cared who I was till I put on the mask.
Yeah, I mean, it's so obvious that there's no like ambience when he's speaking. It sounds like he's like in a recording booth.
They just added into the footage.
Yeah, like the levels aren't even like the same with other people like talking in the scene. Like whenever he talks, it's like louder and clearer in some way. Right. Where you can clearly, it's not hard to understand what he's saying. It's just, I mean, Hardy has just like a strange kind of delivery with like the end of his words. But it kind of took me out of it whenever he was talking because of, you could just tell it was so different than everything else.
And it's really noticeable right away because you have everyone yelling over plane noises in this hole of a plane. But then you have Bane who isn't shouting at all. He's talking normal, but his volume is incredibly loud. And then you have to deal with Tom's accent. And then you have to deal with whatever Tom is trying to do with Bane as some sort of evil overlord as well. So it feels like a giant mess when it comes to his voice.
I will say that Bane in the animated series is awesome. In the comic books, Bane is almost, and I think he's almost like a master strategist. I think that's how it comes across in the animated series and in the comic book. So I love Bane in the comics. So when they said like Bane is going to be the villain in the movie, you're like, okay.
I don't remember from the animated. Is he like on the juice in that?
Yeah, he's on the juice.
Yeah, very much like the older movie.
Number one for me. Sorry, number one. I'm going to say something scandalous that I might have disagreed with my younger self, but I really like Anne Hathaway's Catwoman in this. This viewing, I was smitten. I loved her. I loved her character. I loved her acting in those scenes where she felt like she was just screwed, in terms of how her life had played out and how she was almost like pretty much depressed. Like, there's nothing for me. Some people just can't get out of this life. I really connected with her in this viewing. I really probably disagreed strongly when I was younger. I think when I was younger and I saw this Catwoman, I was like, man, this sucks. Anne Hathaway, get out of my movie. I just want Batman in my movies, Catwoman. But I really enjoyed it. Danny, what did you think?
Yeah, I do love her as Catwoman. And I really like, I like her moments outside of Catwoman. I like her Selena moments where she's, being a real person. Even like the scene where she returns the congressman for the fingerprints and she fakes being, scared when the police are coming. I love those quick sequences with her. I love the masquerade ball with her where she's just giving it right back to Bruce. There's just something, I mean, it's just hard to not like Anne Hathaway anyway. I just really love her. So
some haters in chat right now. Anne Hathaway haters, AHH.
That's fine. Yep. Let them hate. She's really cool in this movie. I love her when she attacks Daggett and does the like heel up the wall to knock the gun out of her hand. And
that stiletto.
Whew.
Sheesh.
I also feel like she played the perfect character for Bruce to want to retire with. You almost like have this kind of mirror image almost of, if I was ever going to just quit and leave with someone who also wants a fresh start, like this Catwoman is the one for me.
Yeah. I like how she fits well into like the Nolan universe of Batman where the whole Catwoman aspect is understated and not really, they don't even say Catwoman in
They don't even say Catwoman.
She doesn't really have a costume. She just happens to have like a pair of goggles that look like cat ears when they're flipped up. It's more of like she's a burglar. And I think like her scenes are just like really well done, and like Anne Hathaway really owns the role. I think it's probably it's one of the performances that I like the most from this.
I will say her costume in some of the scenes where she's like Catwoman kind of looks a little bit goofy. It's almost like bordering like this is drifting into almost unbelievable that she would walk around in this. Where like Batman is kind of like fighting crime. He needs like a military suit. But like Catwoman, you don't really need to wear that.
The same could be said for Black Widow.
Well, I'm not talking about those movies right now.
Those aren't
What
on
I
the table.
do
for
a lot
discussion.
that I like is also Zimmer's score for her, the little piano riff whenever she's on the, like, especially when she's trying to flee and get on the plane and she's got that hat on, and there's a great score behind her in that scene.
What's your number one, Danny, on your list?
Number one on my list. This viewing, I really enjoyed the storyline with the pit that Batman and Bruce Wayne get thrown into. I love Nolan's kind of grounded, realistic take on the Lazarus pit. And I just think I like it. I like the moments with the doctor and him climbing out and the chants. And there's just something really cool about that scene. Learning more about Bane, learning about Talia and the child that climbed out, and him thinking the whole time that it was Bane that actually got out, but he was the protector of her. And I don't know. I just really enjoyed those scenes. And in 4K, it looked really good. I mean, a lot of this film looked gorgeous in 4K, but yeah, I just really liked the pit. I mean, yeah, it's just really cool. It was a cool take on the Lazarus pit.
So when I first saw this movie, I remember being really annoyed that he healed from like a injured back in what I thought was under 3 months, and then swims to Gotham. And I said 3 months because on the TV it says like Gotham Day 89 or whatever. But the wiki says that he was down there for 5 months. Did I miss like another TV announcement saying how long it had been?
They do a bad time of showing the length of time he's actually there. It is the 5 months, but
You got Nolan.
yeah, you got tenanted. Very hard.
I
to
thought
show
like the
that.
wiki was like had an error. Like the wiki says he was down there for 5 months, but I don't remember them saying 5 months. So
You got to read between the lines with Nolan.
that's more believable than 80 days of him like healing. I also was like, how did he not re-injure his back falling and failing from that
Right?
jump?
That
right?
rope? Are
That
you
would have
kidding me?
severed his back again.
Well, you see the angle at which he landed. His stomach took the brunt of the fall.
His six packs saved his back, I think.
Yeah, I'm conflicted about the pit because I like the concept. The idea of it, I think, is cool. It's very like something from a comic book. So it's fun. I just don't know if I love the execution of it. I think the whole like chanting as a guy, like he's climbing out, it's a little corny.
I think it's also tough to have. This is a big movie. Like Batman, when this starts, he's retired for 8 years. He comes back as Batman, gets his back broken, and he's gone for 5 months, and then comes back. So like the time aspect of this movie is long. Like even him like having a broken back could, in theory, be like the end of the last movie, or like start the beginning and have his journey being for like 3/4 of the movie coming back from the broken back. It's like, I don't know. I feel like the way they slotted the pieces around could have been done a little bit better to have more oomph, I guess, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, it feels like Nolan had this obsession with this idea of Bruce Wayne wanting to get out of being Batman, and like, you know, it's in the Dark Knight, and then it's in this one as well. And it feels like that whole setup of like things are going great for 8 years, and like, oh, this Bane figure comes around. Oh, I got to be Batman one more time to like set things right, so I can finally retire from being the Batman. Which it seems like it was like the guiding force for the whole story, which is, I don't know, like I don't say it's like good or bad. It's just like a peculiar approach to telling a Batman story to me.
I think it's because he tried so hard to tell the story that the whole anyone can be a Batman story. You don't have to be a billionaire. You don't have to know, martial arts to be Batman. So this, him trying to retire, but also pass the mantle and inspire a generation of people to, not really fight crime, but anyone can be the person that stands up to injustice. And I think there's that overarching story, which is told in this very long film with a very lot of storylines.
Thick. What did you I actually forgot that this movie started with him being retired for 8 years, or like a recluse. I also was getting kind of pissed at Bruce for like just essentially not doing anything for 8 years. Like the orphanage stuff. Like, what is your problem, dude? Like, do something during the day. Sign some checks.
Yeah, he doesn't even know what's going on with his company.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Alfred is pretty much yelling at him about. Like, he's pissed at Bruce for, giving in to his fear, his anger. He doesn't know how to move on from being Batman since he's chosen to retire. And the fact that him, being gone for 8 years now, him disappearing,
Right.
has allowed his actions of the Dark Knight to like maintain meaning and significance, and Batman's no longer needed, but at least it made his sacrifice worthwhile. And I like the 8-year break, and I like the idea that he lost himself as a person, and he just couldn't come back from it. And he fixed the city, but also he lost himself in doing so.
Megan just posted, I think, what my favorite shot of the movie is, where he's darting around in the flashing of the bullets.
That's your favorite part of the movie?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Danny is ready to strangle me right now. Whose turn is it? Is it Proto's number 2?
My number 2 is, I really like the bat plane helicopter thing.
Oh, yeah.
That is really sick.
Yeah.
It's such a cool design, the way because it looks like the tumbler, but as like they carved out the bottom and put a helicopter blade underneath of it. Yeah, it's just like an awesome design. I think the scenes where it's involved, like when it comes out of the alley, it's like shot so well. It feels, I mean, is that CG? Does anybody know? Is that practical?
It is practical. They do so much of that. They built a full scale bat, and they literally pull it through the city on pulley wires through the air. And then they have it strapped to a top of a car that's controlled by remote control to move around. It's so impressive that there's so little of it CG. I mean, it's obviously the flying over the city stuff is, but the grounded kind of stuff is amazing. And they had to mimic, Tim just said in the chat about coming into the Batcave. Yeah, they throw it into the Batcave just like they did the tumbler. It's such an amazing thing. And that's like a prop that I hope still exists somewhere that I'd love to see one day, just to see that bat in person.
When it flies into the Batcave and then like that the platform rises out of the water.
You say rises?
Rises.
Marcy in chat is bringing up Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Marcy, no offense right now. But I did not enjoy Gotham's look in this movie. It seemed a little generic compared.
That's because it's Pittsburgh.
It is Pittsburgh. In our Pittsburgh audience, please just hold. Compared to Batman Begins and the personality of the city, there's like no personality going on in Gotham in this one, in my opinion. Proto, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean the main shot, like when Batman first appears and he's on the bike, and it looks like they're going along like a river there. That just looks so, I don't know, almost like residential or something. Like it, it just doesn't really have much like character, or it doesn't invoke any sense of being Gotham. It looks like we're in Pittsburgh and we're doing the best we can. All right.
Christopher Nolan's pursing his lips. We're in Pittsburgh. Okay.
We couldn't get Chicago for this shoot.
It's all we have.
Oh no.
All right, I think it's my turn. I will say I think my actual favorite scene is Batman fighting Bane for the first time.
God damn it,
in
that
the
was my
rain
choice for the next one.
with the water coming down, and Batman just looking absolutely pathetic in this fight. Like he's never fought a human being in his entire life.
Oh, you think darkness is your ally? You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man. By then it was nothing to me but blinding. shadows betray you because they belong to me.
Bane is like just stepping on his cape for like the first move of the fight, and he defeats him. But it looks awesome, and he kicks his ass in the entire thing. It looks so cool. He breaks his back, and then for comic fans, like, oh god, he broke his back just like the comics. Like a lot of this is based on Nightfall, No Man's Land, but I think it looks awesome. Like this is the money shot. This entire fight scene.
That fight felt like it was just short of Bane putting his hand on Batman's head and Batman just flailing his arms like he can't reach Bane. Like he was just making a fool out of him in this fight. And honestly, the lead up is great too, where he gets swindled by Catwoman just trying to get out anything to get these guys off her back, and she learns his identity right there.
And she starts crying. Oh my god!
And she just watched him get. I mean, she thinks he's dead. I mean, he gets destroyed. The cracking of the cowl. I mean, that scene is intense, and it's really annoying because it could be something of like legend for me, like the interrogation scene in The Dark Knight. Like, but Bane's voice in that scene, it's just so corny. Like every time, like I would just rather them just shut up and fight. But every time Bane talks, the theatricality and like, it's just so cheesy. It's so hard to enjoy.
Yeah. I also just wish like he was bigger. Like Tom Hardy doesn't, I don't know. Like Tom Hardy he doesn't seem like a big dude in this. Like he doesn't even really look like jacked that much either. That what I think of.
He looks
like
thick as
Bane.
hell.
He did look like he gained weight, but I don't know if he's like cut.
Yeah, he doesn't. Again, when I think of Bane, I'm thinking jacked. So I don't know. The scene's good. I've never. Yeah, I mean, I forgot it. There's so many iconic lines in this movie. The whole like, Born in Darkness. I forgot that was from the scene. I mean, that line is so ubiquitous at this point.
Yeah. God, he couldn't escape those lines when this movie had come out.
Couldn't.
Everyone doing impressions left and right.
Everybody.
Not jacked, Megan. That is not jacked.
If Tom walked up to me like that, I would say this man is jacked.
Really?
He looks huge.
I mean, he's huge. He's probably really
jacked for
strong.
Man, but he's not jacked for Bane. There's a different jacking.
There's a
Maybe they
different
should have given
jacking
him
when
the
it comes to
serum.
Bane.
Maybe they should have given him the serum. He's jacking up. He's putting the poison in him.
No, you guys are turning back into the comic book movies. The cheesy.
I mean, this is pretty comic book.
Cheesy.
Tim in chat says he's got a fighter's body. I can agree with that. Danny, what's your number 2?
Number 2. The one thing that actually frustrates me in this film, John Blake, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh, here, let's get into it.
Now, outside of Joseph, I love Joseph. I think he's a great actor in this film. I love his storyline. I think he was. I liked this person who is molded into what we are being told is Robin. And it's what we find out at the very end. His real name is Robin John Blake. It felt like someone dumped a bucket of cold water on my head when I heard that at the end of the movie. So in the comics, there's some great, I'm a huge Dick Grayson fan, and I wanted him so bad to just, you should have went by your real name, Richard, or something. Like give me him as Richard Grayson. Give me Dick. Okay.
Just call him Dick Grayson in the movie. Officer Grayson.
He is not, his name's not Robin. What are we doing calling him Robin?
What if we call him Robin?
There's even in the comics stuff of Dick in GCPD. It's like this was set up to lead into a Dick Grayson taking over as Batman, who I could argue that Dick was a better Batman than Bruce in the comics. So it's like it was set up so perfectly. And when she says Robin, I almost fell out of my chair.
Deflate audio, balloon just deflating.
I was so frustrated because I think he's one of the best parts of the movie. I like his character a lot, working with Gordon. But to lead up to that, and then to just see him swinging in the Batcave, like it was left to him. Why is his name Robin? Please.
Right. It would have been cool if he was just like, you could even presume that he would maybe just become Nightwing. Like maybe I don't need to be Batman, but I could be something new in Gotham. I could be Nightwing. I also had problems with him discovering Batman's secret identity because Bruce Wayne was smiling at the orphanage.
He knew the smile.
Oh my gosh.
He instantly discovered the identity because of that, Proto.
Expert detective.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knew it was Bruce. Everybody figured it out in this movie. Yeah, that
Jim
was
Gordon.
like,
Poor Jim.
yeah, that line that Batman says to him of like, I don't know, whatever. The little boy, he held his hand when his parents were shot in an alley. He'd never forget. Whatever the heck he said.
And then Gordon's like, Bruce Wayne? Do we even need that? Like, how would you even remember 20 plus years ago you putting a coat around a young boy? You're a police officer. How many times are you consoling victims of murder in Gotham? That could have been 100 people.
Blake finding out, realizing because of that, it was pretty silly.
The one thing I do want to bring up about Gordon, you know, in the No Man's Land comics, which is some of what they pulled from the comic books, Gotham being cut off from the country, etc. Gordon gets pissed at Batman because Batman disappears for several months in that comic book storyline. So they have like a schism, a separation. And Batman tries to like do a make culpa to Gordon. Like, I'm back. We can trust each other again. And Gordon's like, I don't think so. So Batman, to try to make up, he takes his mask off to reveal his identity to Gordon. But Gordon has his back turned and he's like, I don't want to see it. Put the mask back on. You could have done that in this movie.
Oh man, what a moment.
Like that would have been pretty baller. And then it's like their fractured relationship has to kind of like heal from that. So
you're a symbol. I don't need to see your face.
A little boy.
How about Gary Oldman?
Talk to us.
How about Gary Oldman fumbling around on top of that dump truck? Did he look not prepared for that action scene that he was involved in?
Could they have picked someone more spry to climb on the back of a moving truck?
Can we get a stunt double?
Also, how about Talia al Ghul reveals her master plan? She's dead literally 2 minutes later in one of the most embarrassing deaths and positions to be killed in.
Catastrophic.
Terrible.
Oh my gosh. I thought about that scene too, watching it again, where she's staring at Gary Oldman, Christian Bale, and Anne Hathaway. And the way she's sitting, I felt embarrassed for her. Like, you're staring at me.
Evil mastermind Talia al Ghul 90 seconds later. She looks like she's laying on the couch trying to find something on Netflix.
Her vertebrae is not doing well.
Oh, man.
Oh, one other thing. How did Robin
Do not say that. Do not call him Robin.
How did Jason JGL, how did he find Gordon so fast in that drain? Remember that? He's like,
oh yeah,
Gordon gets kidnapped. He rolls into the drain, and JGL knows to go to that exit.
Because that's where he found the body the first time.
Which body?
In the beginning of the movie, when he found the dead orphan. That's where the body washed up.
Oh.
I swear, were you guys watching?
Maybe.
There was a lot of scenes like that. How did Batman know where to find Catwoman when he came back to the city? There's many, like,
that was dumb.
Is this not a big city? Just like, how is everyone finding each other so easily?
And he's also just strolling up to her.
Oh, there's a lot of awkward walking scenes in this film. Like when they meet in the train tunnel the subway tunnel where they have to walk to see Bane, and the music kind of kicks in hard, but they're just like strolling away. Yeah. And then the weird awkward walk that Lucius Fox gives to his secret bookcase, it's like 10 seconds long. Like he's like, let me show you one more thing. And it's like, just walking along the bookcase. It's like, can we cut, please?
Mm-hmm. Proto's number 3.
This would be my third.
Oh, man, we're wrapping up.
So I think that my biggest problem with this movie is that for a story that's where the main threat is blowing up Gotham City, the story feels very small to me. even though it should feel huge, like this is a risk of the city. But I was thinking about it and I was trying to figure out like, why does this not feel epic? Because you think like the Dark Knight Rises, I remember the trailer for this. It seemed like he's like, this is going to be epic. But as I'm watching this, I don't feel that way at all. And I think the thing is that there's never a moment where I actually believe there's a risk or like something's going to go wrong, right? Like, you know that Gotham is not going to get blown up. When you compare it to The Dark Knight, though, The Dark Knight has these relationships and these people who might not make it, and they don't, right? Like Harvey Dent dies, Rachel Dawes dies, and there's like that emotional connection to those characters that Batman has. And in the movie, you don't know if Harvey Dent, Two-Face, is going to survive or not. And the fact that they die, it feels like there's real stakes in that movie. And and there's the stuff with the Joker, but like even like, all right, like Joker, Batman's going to save the people on the boats. But it's like this movie has the threat that Batman will stop, but it doesn't have that other part that where you feel like there's real risk of like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. Right. Like I guess Selena Kyle could have died, or there could have been some kind of threat to her life, but there really isn't. And then like Alfred disappears halfway through this movie, so to me there isn't any kind of like real threat that I actually believe. So I'm never like convinced that anything's going to happen other than what I expect. Mm-hmm. I don't know. How do you guys feel about the overall plot of it?
Now that you say that, I remember saying last week that when I watched The Dark Knight, I just felt anxious the whole time because everything was so chaotic and nerve-wracking, but I didn't feel that way this time around. So I agree. I didn't have any kind of like real connection to the characters or the idea that people might be in danger. Also to the fact that like all those idiot cops went in the sewers. So you sent 5,000 cops into the sewers.
3,000.
Whatever. I mean, one of the dumbest plans that Gotham has ever had, and they got locked down there.
I mean, I totally agree with Proto. I think it's a very valid point. I don't know that it takes me out of it per se. And I was realizing it's so weird. So much that keeps me in this movie is Hans Zimmer's score. It's to me, it's my favorite out of the three movies, I think. There's so many moments where I think it could be dull, but for whatever reason, Zimmer's score kind of kicks in and I get kind of amped, even if it's something simple. But yeah, I mean, there's very low. It does feel like there's low stakes in this movie, and I think maybe the ending of Batman dying ish, like the thought of him getting nuked. I remember the first time it happened. I think I was super emotional then. Thinking that we just lost Batman Bale. This kind of was like a very finite kind of into the story. And he sacrificed himself. So for me, that was a big moment in this film, but there is so many with the amount of storylines, nothing felt heavy enough to be on the edge of my seat for.
Yeah. I will, like you referenced the ending. I love the ending of this movie.
I do love it too. Yeah.
I think it's incredible. Like that scene with Alfred and he at the end, I started tearing up myself.
The Fernie Branca.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a nice way to end a trilogy.
Yeah. I agree.
It's well done.
My last one. So in this viewing, and I think last time, I still kind of like don't grasp why they still want to destroy Gotham. And I say that because crime is down. Like the city is almost like doing very well for itself. Like, why do you still want to destroy it? But then I guess in this viewing, I saw a little bit more of them still taking down the rich.
Right.
Like, let's destroy Wall Street. And then this is just through the lens of 2022. Like it did appear a little bit more like, I wrote a snarky letterbox review of like Batman saving the rich and the cops, which like is a bit of a disconnect in this day and age in our current climate. But that did affect my viewing this time around. Like I just still think the cops are morons. Like, I don't care about saving these idiot cops in the sewers. I don't care about protecting the wealthy of Gotham. And I know that's like a snarky take of like, yeah, I agree with Bane, like destroy all these people. But it did affect my viewing a little bit where like I just didn't really care that Batman was really saving all these people that, maybe didn't need saving in Gotham.
Wow. Slim wants everyone dead in that
Everyone.
city.
Children.
No, the shot that kind of made me a little queasy is when Batman basically becomes the police commissioner and like all the police are coming out of the tunnel and he's like there like with them and just him being identified with them. I was like, oh man, this doesn't look that great. But I don't know. Other than that, yeah.
Okay. I'm the odd man out. That's fine.
Well, there's more to save than just the rich. I mean, the city is still rotting from the ground up because of the rich and the inequity that's still in Gotham, even when there's no crime or mob boss. So, I mean, they mentioned like 12 million are going to die if this bomb goes off. So there's the aspect of we still have plenty of innocent lives to save, which I think they try to lean into with Blake's character busing the orphans off of the island, or the families stepping out of the homes, and I don't know.
Maybe instead of the cops being kidnapped, put like families down there or something.
Yeah,
where, like the
different kind of
is,
stakes. Yeah,
yeah. Change the stakes up a little bit, where it's not like, oh dang, he destroyed Wall Street. Like maybe he kidnaps an entire orphanage and puts kids down there. Like that would make me more consider, I actually am rooting for Batman to like save the day here and come back. Like those people are more important to me. Danny, what's your third point?
I think I've exhausted a lot of the points. Let me see. I mean, that's it's kind of it for me. I will say, as the third film in this trilogy, I do love this movie. I really love sitting down and watching it. I don't watch it often. Like I said, I watch The Dark Knight the most, but I think I put this higher than Batman Begins. I really do enjoy this. I like Bane. I like the look of Bane. I like his physicality with Batman. I like the score in this. Is there still a lot that I like about this film that I kind of connect to better than Batman Begins? So I just for all, I think I'm at 4 stars for this. I think I'm sitting at 4 stars for this film. It's the Robin stuff really does piss me off because it's a frustrating setup that kind of doesn't pan out as my nerd brain wants it to pan out. And that kind of is a lot of stuff when comic book movies happens for comic book fans, but it does bug me.
What if I make an edit where I dub them saying his name to Grayson?
I mean, sure. That would be great. But I do, for me, this is a fun film, and I still enjoy this trilogy as a whole more than, most trilogies.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
How about when Robin bounces a bullet off of the cement truck to shoot the guy? I didn't know you could do that.
Amazing scene. Proto, honorable mentions, final rating for The Dark Knight Rises.
Honorable mentions. My favorite scene, and I got chilled up, is the bat signal on the bridge. I don't know how Batman found the time to do that, but I got chilled up when he lights that on fire and it lights up and the music swells.
Impossible.
But also just, I can't get over Bane's plan. Like the plan is so ridiculous and so complex, and everyone else in Gotham is complete idiots. Like these guys are mixing cement with like explosives throughout the entire city, and no one could catch on that this is happening. Also, where are these 9,000 psychopaths coming from? That is Bane's army. Who are these people? Where do they live? Why? I don't know. You know what's crazy though, as I give my final thoughts is I think I enjoyed watching this more than Batman Begins as well.
Wow.
You gave 2 stars to Batman Begins.
I did. And I'm giving this 2 stars as well. So this is 2 stars. But I think I like it more than Batman. I think I had more fun watching this. Even though by like the final half hour, I was kind of checking out of it. But 2 stars.
2 stars from Proto. I'm trying to think if I had any other honorable mentions. The scene where he finally comes back on the bat cycle after 8 years and the lights are going out, like behind the cop cars, the chase scene. I thought that was pretty badass.
That is cool.
Amazing scene. I think they probably should have called this Nightfall, or anything but The Dark Knight Rises would have been a better name.
Yeah, it's a terrible title.
So I'm at 3.5 stars for The Dark Knight Rises. So that's a jump from maybe a BLB rating of 2.5 stars. There are some pretty cool moments, and I really enjoyed Anne Hathaway this time around, and the ending still slaps. IMO.
Oh God, answer.
Hold on.
Pick it up.
You know what that means.
Pick it up.
Put it off, pick it up. You know what that means. We might be speaking with someone on the line. Let's see if they're calling in. Let's see if Batman has something to say. Let's see who's calling in.
Hey, 70mm, it's me, the Dark Knight. This week, you're celebrating my retirement, my swan song, my bat song. Never mind. Anyway, in the end, justice and vengeance and the wealthy elite win. But some people still think me could take me in a 1v1. Listen, he broke my back and had that really great line about being born in the dark, molded by it. When he said that, I was really pissed because it is something I should have said. I really think darkness is my mom. I always have Mommy Martha, but my second mom is definitely darkness. I even asked Alfred if we could get it in writing and notarized, but he just ignored the idea. Still playing pretend, Mr. Wayne. Who is that? How did you get this number? It's a public number. I looked it up. Who are you? You sound familiar. Wait. Give me a clue. I can figure this out. I am the League of Shadows. It can't be. Ra's al Ghul is dead. Let's not stand in ceremony here, Mr. Wayne. Wait. Bane said that to me. How could you know that? Give me another clue. His bomb is armed. His bomb is mobile. You sound like Jimmy Stewart, but that's not my guess. Just thinking out loud. It doesn't matter who we are. The only thing that matters is our plan. Okay, I'm still not sure. But I'm not going to guess now. I'm going to sleep on it. Do some research. Personal. But I want to thank 70mm for covering my story. Remember, Batman is a symbol. And even though Bane said it first, I was adopted by darkness. Officially. As soon as we get the paperwork sorted. Bye.
Stupid. What were you doing to utilize the Bane voice? That was impressive.
What do you mean?
Oh my God. Oh, cripes. Amazing.
You sound like Jimmy Stewart. That got me good. Holy cow. Oh, my chest.
Sad that that's the end of our bat journey. Batman
Almost.
calling in, breathing through his mouth each time. What a fun few weeks we had with Batman. We have some VMs and letters to get to. You can send us those at 70mmpod.com. There's links on there to send us an audio file or otherwise. So let's get into a few right now. The subject line, The Fire Rises. Let me take a quick drink. Dear friends, it's been a while since my last letter to the community, Malcolm X, but I felt the need to share my story with the Dark Knight trilogy. Very quick. Batman Begins was the first movie I took a girl on a date to go see. We didn't go on a second date. I bought tickets for The Dark Knight months ahead of time and was the first movie I saw at midnight with my younger brother. And finally, my brother and I completed the journey with Rises, also at a midnight showing. I love all three of these movies and compare all other superhero movies to them. I know that the unpopular opinion is that Rises is the weakest of the three, while star-wise, I do agree. The Dark Knight is 5 stars, Begins at 4, and Rises at 3. I actually like Rises better than Begins and behind TDK. The complicated story of politics and class warfare tugs on the historical strings of my heart, and the literary part of my brain, as the movie was heavily influenced by A Tale of Two Cities. I love that Bane is the villain and that it ties back to Batman Begins with Talia. Rest in peace, Talia. Sorry, I'm thinking of that image again. Her crooked head. I think Batman was well done and similar to his comic motivations, albeit Tom Hardy's voice, and was better than the disaster of Bane in that pig swill of a movie, Batman and Robin.
Oh
I do think the fan service to Robin was okay, rather than mind-blowing. I think Bruce at the beginning being physically worn down from his history as Batman, then he slaps on a knee device and he's good to go, is lame. And that to overcome Bane is he just has to remember what he was fighting for is lackluster. All that said, I'm excited to hear takes. I have my tickets already for the Batman. My fiance loves Twilight, and my brother and I joked with her she has to see the Batman movie with us, as it may be the origin for Edward Cullen. Hope all three of you are doing well. The 70mm fellows are doing well, and keep up the good work. Love you all. That's Mike. So Mike is aligned with you in your ratings, Danny.
Yes, because I'm right.
Mike is right. Danny's right.
Gosh,
Thank you, Mike.
Remember our Malcolm X up? What an up.
What a movie. Sheesh.
Kip has emailed in. This is a long one. I might have to do an abridged version. We'll see. The Dark Knight Rises.
Take a sip.
Swig it.
I might need more than a sip for this one. Hey, fellas, I've been tagging along the 70mm pod for just a few months, but I've loved every second. While normally I'm the kind of guy who likes to sit in the back and just listen, I wanted to write in this week to talk about The Dark Knight Rises, a movie that is very special to me. In my junior high years, I would often spend my evenings cycling around my neighborhood with my best friend. One night, after completing our usual rounds, my brother informed me that they would be watching The Dark Knight Rises. I was only 12 or so, and I grew up in the kind of home where only PG-13 movies I could watch were Lord of the Rings and the Martin Luther biopic.
Excuse me.
And so I assumed that this activity excluded me. However, my father was feeling generous, and at 8:30 on a warm summer night, we stayed up to watch The Dark Knight Rises, ignoring the fact that I hadn't seen any of the other Nolan films. I try to be careful with the phrase life-changing, but to describe that night any other way would be an injustice. Never before had I connected more with a character than Christian Bale's Batman. And as the youngest and smallest of 3 boys, that back-breaking sewer fight scene hits a little too close to home. Watching Bruce Wayne climb out of the pit at his lowest, both physically and mentally, with Hans Zimmer's brass swells and the prisoners chanting, was a moment of inspiration for a 12-year-old boy who was honestly struggling. The spark I felt during this movie pushed me to a love of stories and storytelling that follows me to this day. Whether it be comics or films, I'm currently a university student majoring in film studies. Yes. And while TDKR is by no means a perfect movie, and after about an 8th rewatch it began to unravel a bit, I think it would not be an overstatement to credit this movie with beginning my love of film. Even as I write this email, it's hard not to spin off into a much lengthier statement to how special this movie is to me. Anyway, thank you for taking the moment to read this email. If I hadn't taken up enough of your time already, I'm curious if you all have a movie that began your journey to being a film lover. I appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful week. That's Kip. What an email.
Wow, what a great story.
Goodness.
What started the journey, Proto, for you?
I've said it before, The Matrix changed my life.
Shoo. Phantom Menace.
I don't remember what my answer was to this question.
RoboCop.
Love of film. Golly. I mean, my earliest film memories is when I went to see Ninja Turtles in a dank Village Mall theater. When it was like a year after it had come out, they would show like dollar movies. And I referenced it last week about how like sticky movie theater floors, like you step on it, your shoe doesn't move, but your foot comes out. It was a very fun early memory. I don't know.
I would say for the Phantom Menace, it was more I love going to movies anyway, but that was when I realized I wanted to know how movies were made. Like I really wanted to know more about the process of making film. That's what kind of opened my eyes to it.
You know what's so cool about that story from Kip is that like when you're a kid, like him saying, "Hey, we're going to watch The Dark Knight Rises." Like now when you watch a movie, like you're usually the one putting it on and you know what you're getting into, at least, you know, something about it. But when you're a kid, yeah, it's like your dad could your mom be like, "Hey, we're watching this movie," and you have no idea what's about to happen. You know, and you could be seeing something that, yeah, like blows your mind. It's just something you've never seen before. That's so cool and special.
We don't really have, at least in my house, I'm just trying to think of movie night. We've been trying to do like Sunday, like weekend family adventures where we leave the house and maybe go on like a hike or something. But we don't have movie nights. James is pretty much left his own devices playing Xbox with his friends. I might have missed already that era. Maybe I shouldn't have shown him The Exorcist when he was 8 years old. Maybe that was a mistake.
Something to think about.
Something for me to think about. We do have some VMs to get to, so let's start those off.
Hey guys, it's Megan. I wanted to call in on this special episode of The Dark Knight Rises to share with you my favorite line from the movie. Where's the trigger? Where is it? Where's the trigger? You're welcome. That was my best Batman impression. You know it's a sad day in Gotham when Bane has some of the best lines and dialogue in the movie. Okay, bye.
Oh,
Bye.
Incredible rendition.
Thank you, Megan. Whew.
He said the trigger like 9 times in that scene.
I thought his lips were going to fall off.
And he couldn't breathe during all that. He said trigger 9 times in one breath because, he can't inhale through his nose.
The power of Christian Bale.
Christian Bale's, the look in his eyes when he's betrayed by Talia, like the knife is in and he's just like.
That's great as detective.
Oh, yeah.
Also, how about them sleeping together? She's been in 2 scenes and she goes to Gotham Manor in a rainy night with no power and they instantly start knocking boots.
I mean,
that hasn't happened since Val. Remember that
scene? Thank you for the VM, Megan.
He was just looking for the trigger.
Oh, my word. Inappropriate.
Yo, what's up, Danny, Slim, Proto? I just want to call in and let y'all know it's Tyrell from Phoenix, Arizona. I've been watching the show for about 2.5 months now. I really enjoyed the content that y'all putting out and the movie selections that y'all have. It really gives people a guide on how they should approach critiquing movies, writing movies, just being part of the industry. So I appreciate everything y'all do. I just watched Batman Begins because of the last episode. I'm excited to see what y'all say about The Dark Knight. I'm even more excited to see Robert Pattinson do Robert Pattinson as Batman. So please let me know what y'all think about that. And yeah, man, y'all just keep putting out this content. I love it.
Thank you, Tara. I love you back.
Yes.
Tara, are you ready for the Batman right now? That's next week. That's our next step.
I'm so ready.
Gear up.
I need everyone to be ready.
Suit up.
I'm going on Saturday. Can't wait.
What time are you going Saturday?
What time?
I think it's 2 p.m.
Oh, you're saying
wow.
Jenna wanted to see it. So we're going together. We're going on a movie date.
Yo.
She said
Jenna.
she's in.
Okay.
The fire rises.
Expect a voicemail from Jenna.
Will Jenna update her letterbox for the first time this year? RoboCop might have been her last entry. 2021. Final VM. You know who it's going to be from. The number one Batman fan in our Discord.
What is up, 70mm? It is Andy calling, and I'm calling one last time to complete the trilogy. You guys are talking about The Dark Knight Rises, and let's just get it out there. This is my favorite one of the trilogy.
Excuse me?
I just love this movie so much. There's no debating that The Dark Knight is the better film, but for me, I still love, this is my favorite one of the 3. I just love finally seeing Bruce Wayne being able to ride off into the sunset. He has now this new life. He has this new relationship with Selina, and it's just beautiful. And I'm a sucker for a happy ending. And so I love this movie so much. I love Bane. I think Bane, the introduction of this new character, that opening airplane scene, pretty freaking amazing. And let's be honest, who would have guessed that Anne Hathaway would have killed it as Catwoman? I just think she delivered. She
Hit the bell, Proto.
Her performance in this was amazing. Specifically when she's in the bar and the cops show up and she starts screaming, pretending to be a victim. That's just so good. And so anyways, I love this movie so much. Again, I know it's not the best one. I know that it's not the best conclusion to the trilogy, but I don't care. I love it. And yeah, I can't wait to hear you guys' thoughts. Love you guys. Bye.
His voicemail reminded me of the intro to this. I forgot to say that, you know, I watch a lot of the making ofs, and the making of that scene is incredible. But when Bane is holding the doctor when it drops him out of the middle of the ship, in the making of it shows that it's two mannequins holding each other, and I can't unsee that anymore. And I need you guys to know that. So if you ever see it again, it's two mannequins holding each other wearing a wig.
What if we put a wig on the mannequins?
That'll fool them.
IMAX. That's our VMs, our feedback for the week.
What a journey.
What a journey. This Batman journey is almost finished. Next week we'll announce our next journey. And it's big. It's big. There might be a slight detour in that journey, but we're about to go big. Okay? Next week is the Batman, Robert Pattinson, and the guy who did the Apes movies.
Excuse me?
Reeves.
What's your excitement level for the Batman, Proto?
Excitement, 5 out of 5 excitement levels right now. 5 stars.
Oh my.
I'm very excited.
It's hard not to be. This is a new Batman flick, new everything.
Yeah. And it's Rob.
And it's, exactly.
Our king. He's our Timmy, Rob. You know?
Thank you.
He's our Timmy.
That is so true.
What a week. What an episode. We're through the Nolan movies. Next week is the Batman. So everyone hit theaters. Get ready for that episode. Proto, can you take us out for the week? Any wise words for us?
Well, just reflecting on this trilogy, trilogies are like sandwiches. You got your bottom loaf, you got your meat on the inside, and you got your top piece. In this case, I think bottom and top piece maybe like stale, soggy bread, but in the middle there we got the nice meats, and sometimes that's all you need in a trilogy. We got the good meats in the middle there, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful that we got to do this together.
Thankful for the meats. We'll see everybody next week for the Batman. 70mm is a tape deck production featuring original artwork provided by Danny Haas. Spiritual guidance and V'ger, the robot who loves movies, provided by Pertalexis. Producer at large, Dale_A. Transcripts provided by Sophie Shin and music composed by Cinematric. Prints and other merch are available on 70mmpod.com. This episode was mixed, edited, and produced by me, Slim. Support our Patreon for access to our VHS Village Discord to talk movies with new friends, access to our exclusive episodes in the 70mm vault, discounts on merch, uncut episodes, and a physical membership card mailed to you. To check out other Tape Deck podcasts, find the link in the episode notes. And if you'd like to support our friends at Letterboxd and upgrade to Pro or Patron status, you can do so with a 20% off discount using the links on 70mmpod.com. Goodbye.
This is a Tape Deck podcast.